This is Edo from the Tech with Edo YouTube channel. This video is about how to become a program manager, a technical program manager in tech in 2025. So this video is about my story, but most importantly about how you can try and land a role such as this or similar ones. We'll see that technical program manager is not just one type of role, but it sort of indicates a wider set of roles that we'll call delivery roles, and then how you can sort of reflect this is a role that you want to go into. So in terms of what a technical program manager does and how other roles are similar to it, these are the roles I would categorize under the term delivery roles. These are role types such as project manager, program manager, technical program manager. You may see also Scrum Master, delivery lead on certain job insights and job boards. But the core focus of this role is common at the end of the day. It's basically to ensure that projects run on time and smoothly from start to finish. I've covered some of these roles in sort of my professional career so far. Started in consulting, and then I moved into technology at MongoDB. But I've worked primarily around a project-centric approach to work, and thus in project-centric roles. In terms of what my story has been so far, so I started in consulting, did 3 years in consulting in 2 stints, split across Boston Consulting Group and Deloitte in London, the UK. And then I was able to break into the tech industry. And there's no specific, mystery, secret ingredient that I used to break into tech. It was just purely serendipitous, purely out of recruiter reaching out, matching of right time, right role, right opportunity. And we're just lucky to land an initial project manager role in MongoDB, which is a technology company that is positioning itself in a modern database and modern application ecosystem. And then I've been with Mongo basically since 2021 until today. I initially started in the sales operations world, and now I'm moved into another operations team, which is called a project management team within what we call technology operations, basically a central operations team at MongoDB. But it's still operating very similarly in terms of my latest role, in terms of being close to go-to-market teams, being close to sales operations, being close to working for internal customers or internal employees from a number of different operations angles. So in plain English, what does such a role actually do, right? From a day-to-day perspective. So a delivery role in general is a very generalist role in terms of you will apply broad skills to a specific domain, specific subject matter area. You will also have, you may be a project manager that focuses on a specific industry, a specific vertical, or a specific set of systems or business processes. In my experience, this business process or business area has been sales operations and B2B sales teams. So within the technology industry and within the business to business segment of the technology industry, then there is a functional process or functional sets of processes that's called sales operations, and that's basically where I operate. And sales operations concerns is primarily to make sales reps and sales operations at the company more productive, more efficient, more optimized from a business, process, and people angle. In terms of a typical career path, you can start from a project manager. There's even more junior positions are rolled in this. You can start as an intern, as an associate project manager, project coordinator. But along the lines, you'll become more and more senior, and then you can specialize generally according to your company's role opportunities, but also according to whether you want to move into management, people management, or whether you want to specialize further and further as an individual contributor. Some example projects that I worked on that you may work on are, implementing sales technology in the B2B space. You can conduct industry analysis or company-specific analysis on sales productivity. So understanding what makes a sales rep successful or not. You can also look at, product features based on this research that would increase your company's potential from a revenue perspective or maybe from a cost efficiency perspective. You can also support specific ticketing software implementations. I've worked on a Zendesk implementation, for example, in my company. And you can also look at interesting use cases such as, how do we forecast revenue? How do we forecast specific deals? So these are example projects that I worked on in this specific space. But in general, as a technical program manager, you will work on technology-enabled initiatives, projects, big or small. So there will be a business process that needs to achieve a specific business outcome. And there's obviously always a software engineering or technology implementation layer that calls for a somewhat technical project manager or program manager to oversee that specific initiative. What are some of the skills that I rely on, some of my colleagues rely on as well? Definitely sort of general project management skills. Those are your out-of-the-box project management institute skills, being able to oversee a project end to end, know what the key phases of a project are, what are the key processes, inputs, outputs that each phase is generally made of and needs to be taken care of from that angle. Also being aware of risk management, contingency plans, working in iterative versus other types of frameworks, and being overall familiar with SFDC, which is like the software development lifecycle of rolling out technology-enabled projects. There's always, of course, a level of business skills that doesn't hurt to have, right? In terms of being knowledgeable about your specific vertical, your specific industry, being aware of what's moving in the market, what are some of the dynamics from an innovation perspective, from a business angle, and also being able to layer in your specific domain expertise in terms of what unique experience maybe in the past that you have developed in the specific industry or in a relevant context that makes you effective from a business angle at your role. Of course, there's also a set of technical skills in terms of you being able to being technically savvy, to speak to your technical counterparts, your tech lead, to your software engineers, whoever in your stakeholder group you need to being able to relate to discuss the work, to understand implications of project decisions at a technical level on the overall project and on a specific component of a project. So I always look at it in terms of not necessarily having to be as technically savvy as a software engineer on your project, being able to be dangerous enough to know what's being discussed and know what the impacts of the decisions that are being discussed may or may not be for the project, to be able to understand, okay, how does this technical discussion impact what I need to do at the program or project management level. And of course, there's general professional skills, right, in terms of being able to communicate clearly, being able to be empathetic with your colleagues, understand the various personalities. You will tend to work across teams, across cultures, across different domains, and with a lot of different personalities. So there's a level of emotional intelligence, empathy that goes with the job. But of course, nobody's perfect. But this is something that we all have to work on as technical program managers or project managers. How you can learn these skills? So there's various ways. I was a big proponent earlier in my career for online courses, books and resources, on the more academic angle as well. There's definite, but I would say, the more hands-on learning that you can do, talking with people that are in similar roles and absorb as much as possible from a mentorship perspective. I think that is a greatly effective way as well to learn. And then, in certain respects, if you're, say, applying for jobs, there are specific certifications that many employers may require or may find useful if making decisions in terms of which candidates to select or filter for. And such as, certifications such as, Agile Framework Scrum Masters, the PMP, which is basically the Bible of the project managers in the area, or specific technical certifications, for example, being a Salesforce certified administrator if you work on Salesforce project releases or project implementations. If you're not in one of these roles at the moment, there's definite ways in terms of making you effective at landing such a role. I would say, most and foremost, start to apply, to also fail, also learn what's not working, and understanding that it's a numbers game, but self-selecting a top 10, top 20 list of roles that you are interested in and figuring out, what do I like about these job descriptions? What do I don't like? What are the companies that you can research for, that you can maybe select certain criteria in terms of employee size, vertical in which they operate, and being really persistent and targeted with your applications rather than just mass applying. But at the same time, understanding it's a numbers game. Like in terms of applying for jobs, it's, you're building your pipeline, and you may convert only a, minor number of, the whole set of applications that you end up submitting, and then you will only convert hopefully one of those interviews process that you actually get to participate in. There's also lots that you can do, in my opinion, in terms of developing experience by working on stuff on the side, developing your side projects portfolio. And if you think about it, project management is a very general area in terms of organizational skills, analytical thinking skills, managing initiatives end to end. And there may be pockets in your current life, personal life, or professional life in which you are already actually developing some relevant skills. And it's a matter of more understanding what those are, developing them, and positioning them well in terms of then figuring out what those skills are and then selling them, being able to sell them to whoever you are reaching out to in terms of using your network to land the role, right? So, and this is the biggest thing at the end that I would mention is really using your network and making sure that instead of like clicking easy apply ad nauseum on LinkedIn, you figure out who in my network can help me land project management / program management type roles. This would be super effective as well in terms of being the first avenue that I would actually follow in terms of trying to land the role. So if you're excited about this, if you're interested about the roles, I think overall the project / program management type roles or delivery roles in general can be extremely enriching in terms of offering you growth, challenge, lots of different opportunities. It's a general role at the end of the day. It's very generalist. So you can use it to get to know industries, figure out, if you like it or not, but you will develop a generalist type skill set that can be married with a technical skill set that I think not a lot of roles out there in tech offer. So it can be extremely rewarding, I think, if you're interested in these roles. There's also lots of opportunities to just reach out, just connecting with professionals in the field, speaking to them, reaching out, seeing, if, they like their role, what parts of the role they don't like, to be able to, even before you are in one of these seats, understand if this role is for you. And also then, once you've made up your mind, you can just focusing on learning, developing, absorbing as much as you can, and then building slowly but surely your career in the field. If you have liked this video, feel free to reach out to me. I have a few years of experience in the field. I would like to be able to offer you help if I can. I also, if you're more of a reader, you can also check out the DataNewsletter for more insights. I write there somewhat regularly. I want to do a bit of a better job at, getting you engaged, answering questions. And yeah, hopefully it can be of use. And if you like this video, just like, subscribe, and share it with your friends or whoever you think this may be relevant for. Thank you so much again.